Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Bucks winning tonight, 122-113 over the Detroit Pistons. That's a season sweep over the Pistons. Get your brooms out. Get them ready. Come on in the room. Adrian is our doctor. He writes out all of our scriptures. He gives us all of our medicine in our room. We are live. It's the Cream City crossover. The Guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Khris King.
Yeah, everybody's in the building tonight. Bucks win it 122-113. You'd think people would be excited. Of course they're not. They always got to find things to complain about when the Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons again. It's a season sweep. The Bucks have won 21 of their last 22 over the Detroit Pistons. So, I mean, this is just beat down every single time we play the Detroit Pistons. If you want to get at us on Twitter to get your comments read on the air tonight at TCIIESQ. We'll do that there, and then we'll also get on YouTube and get some of your comments as well as we discuss a 122-113 win for the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's get down to business, and we got to do, of course, as we do every night, we'll find out how the Bucks won with our game recap. It's sponsored by the law offices of Daly M. Johnson. When you need defense, where?
Off the court.
Off the court. You got to get a defense off the court. I thought the Bucks defense tonight wasn't bad. You know what's crazy? I got a text from John Kuhn this morning from 973 The Game. And John Kuhn texted me, let's see a little slight name drop. John Kuhn was asking me if the Bucks were going to hold Detroit to under 115 points tonight. I said they would, and they did it. They only give up 113 tonight. So that's progress. We'll take it. But again, the game recap sponsored by the offices of Daly M. Johnson. For when you need defensive off the court, serving Central and South Central Wisconsin, criminal defense, traffic and OWI defense, TROs, and injunctions. Hit up my guy, Daly M. Johnson, 608-893-8370. Go to his website, www.dmjlaw.com. Sign up, get a free phone or in-person consultation. Law Office of Daly M. Johnson sponsoring tonight's game recap. 122-113. Milwaukee Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons. Giannis Antetokounmpo. What do you heard the Ice Cube song? He messed around and got a what? Triple-double. 31, 17, and 10. With 3 steals and 2 blocks to go with it. He was 1 for 5 from 3 tonight, so probably could have a little more efficient of a ball game, but he didn't. Only 2 turnovers. 8 for 12 from the free throw line. Didn't have that shoulder pad on, so I thought he shot the free throw a little bit better tonight. Chris Middleton gave you 26, 2 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 9 of 14, 64% from from the field. He also jumped to 3rd all time on the in the Bucks scoring list. We'll talk about that later on in the program. A double-double from Brook Lopez, 15 and 11. How many times did you see Brook Lopez with 11 rebounds? 11 boards for Brook Lopez, so good job from him. And Malik Beasley, 13.6 boards, not very efficient. He was 5 for 14 tonight, 3 for 8. Look, he had trouble finding his three-point shot. And Dame Lillard, 17 and 8. He took 15 shots, was 2 for 10 from 3, so he really couldn't find it either. But I thought overall he played well. The bench was a different story outside of Andre Jackson Jr. Bobby Portis with 7 points. Jay Crowder still trying to get his feet under him as well. 3 points, 2 boards. Ajax, 8 points, and Pat Connaughton in. And again, we're starting to notice something here. Now, Bobby still got 25 minutes. Andre Jackson with 20 minutes. Jay Crowder, 12. Pat Connaughton, 8:49. He had 9 minutes of playing time tonight. So you're starting to see what we're wanting to see from the bench. We're starting to see what we want to see from Dr. Griffin, where those numbers, where the guys that should be playing are starting to play. The guys that shouldn't play are starting not to play. And I think, we'll see what happens with Bobby Portis at the deadline. But very interested to see how these numbers bear out. And you are starting to see Andre Jackson a good 20 minutes tonight. And I thought he earned them all. Bucks did a decent job of Alec Burks tonight. 9 points, 3 assists from him. 12 points and 12 and 12 for Jalen Duren. Jaden Ivory with 17 tonight. Killian Hayes is trash. 2 points, 5 assists. He just is. Bogdanovic dropped in 15. Isaiah Stewart, I thought he had a nice night, 19 and 8. And Marcus Sasser is a Bucks assassin. He had 23 and 3 assists tonight. Bucks win at 122-113. I'll give some quick thoughts. I thought the energy overall tonight, guys, was good. I really did. And I think that's one of the reasons the Bucks held Detroit to 113 points, which again, not world beaters, but that'll play. I thought the energy was good, especially in the first half. I thought the Bucks. I thought a lot of the shots that Detroit made, especially the first half, were contested. They kept pace, and I give them a lot of credit for doing it. But the Bucks held Detroit to 20. They did not score. They scored 30 in the first quarter. Didn't score 30 again for the rest of the game. And again, when you're playing the Bucks put up 30 in 3 out of 4 quarters. So you're gonna have a tough time beating the Bucks if you can't put up 30 plus quarters. That's kind of a benchmark, I think, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. Are you holding teams to under 30 points? They did that, and they also did that tonight while only shooting. The Bucks shot 10 of 39 from 3 for 25%. We know the Bucks are a much better three-point shooting team than that, and they gave up 33% on the other side to Detroit. So I mean, if you make even a couple of those threes, it's a 9-point game. The Bucks had, I think, at 11 with a couple minutes left, but even a few of those threes go the right way to the good guys, and then you're talking about a blowout for the Bucks. And then one more stat I'll mention. Plus 20, plus 20, plus 21, plus 19, plus 12, plus 9. Those are starters plus minus, minus 13, minus 6, minus 8, minus 9. The bench players plus minus. That's an issue. We'll talk about that later in the show as well. But one of the reasons why I feel fine about what happened tonight, the Bucks starters, great. I don't have any problem with the 5 that are on the floor: Lillard, Beasley, Lopez, Giannis, and Khris. They did their job. And again, if you have a halfway competent bench, the Bucks probably win this game by 20 points. But that's kind of just the way it goes. Bucks win 122-113. JT, what'd you see?
Yeah, no. Well, let's go. Let's start overall with the numbers. Right? You mentioned this point, right? Look, tonight was actually the Bucks were a little bit below their season averages, which is interesting when you think about Detroit. But look, they shot 44.7% tonight from 3. The Bucks. I'm sorry, Bucks. Yeah, Bucks shot 44.7% from the field. Season average is 50%, which I believe is good for third in the league as of right now coming into this game. Bucks shot 25% from 3, right? Season average is 38%. So yes, what we did, definitely below their averages there. Now, here's the thing. Tonight, I love it because Giannis gave you the triple-double, and I say this all the time. I don't think we as Bucks fans appreciate, one, how hard it is to get a triple-double, and 2, how spoiled we are. The Giannis goes for 30 points, and it's a collective yawn most of the time, right? Giannis goes for a triple-double tonight. We've seen it before. So, certainly want to acknowledge that. But again, tonight, I want to acknowledge our guy, Khris Middleton. Man, how about Khris Middleton? Had a great night tonight. 9 for 14 from the field, 26 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Hey, I'll take it, right? And more importantly, he was 2 for 5 from the field. I'll take that too. And from the free throw line, Khris Middleton, 6 for 6. Need that. We need that every night, right? Now, here's the thing that I kind of didn't like. Dame Lillard. He was on his what's that movie on Netflix when everybody had the blindfold on? Yeah, Bird Box. That's what it was. Bird Box. He was on his Bird Box from the 3-point line, right? 2 for 10, stinking it up, right? Malik Beasley, 5 for 14 from the field. What's that, Trey?
That's a tour date.
He performing at the Riverside. Oh yeah. He performing on the Riverside, right? Right. Well, no, don't worry. Dame's joining the next night. Dame went 4 for 15 from the field. So yeah, Dame also performing at the Riverside, right? These two brothers get together. Maybe they get enough folks on the ticket to perform at the Fiserv Forum. But yeah, smaller venue. Go ahead and go see them at the Riverside, right? Tour dates from both. But I like the fact that this team kept battling. They kept battling. They kept fighting. Kept grinding, and they weren't going to be denied. This win wasn't particularly pretty. I thought Detroit stuck around. I think Detroit is better than we think, right? Like, you know how people say you are what your record is? Well, that's true, but I think this Detroit team does have a lot of talent. And like, it's not all these players on the team are not complete trash, right? Khris talked about it, and I'll let him talk about the guard play and just noticing a trend there. But, good clean sweep by the Bucks. Again, we have bench woes. The bench is who we thought they were. Right? What was that? Was that Denny Green? They were who we thought we were. They were. Let them off the hook, right? Rest in peace to Denny Green, right? But the bench tonight, I mean, again, Andre Jackson Jr., 8 points. Always impressed when we see that from him because we don't really expect him to score and contribute. But, Bobby Portis, 7 points in 25 minutes. Pat Connaughton, 2 points in 9 minutes, like you said. Jay Crowder, 12 minutes. 3 points, but again, I'm gonna give Crowder a little bit of a pass just because he's still coming back off injury and there's some management there. But Khris, what'd you see?
Yeah, aside from the tour dates from Dame and Beasley, I thought on defense they looked a step slow. Right, when you have some young guards like the Pistons do, especially Sasser, man, he's been killing it, and that's probably a product of just being so experienced in college basketball, and getting to space the floor a little bit more in the NBA. He looked really good tonight, but I also think that the reason he looked good is because we just look a step slow, right, with Beasley and Dame, and I don't know if that's age, I don't know if it's effort, but he was getting to the rim with ease, and that's going to be a problem, especially, Ivy as well. He's fast too, and it seemed like it was just a little too easy for them. But aside from that, when I really thought that this game shifted was in the fourth quarter with Brook Lopez damn near hitting a logo three, and that was huge. They were down two. The Pistons had a little bit of momentum, and Brook pulled one from deep, and he knocked it down. And not just that play. I thought Brook really did a good job of imposing his will against Duran. And Duran is a tough young big in this league. He's strong, physical, and Brook wasn't having it. And I like to see that from Brook, especially you talk about the 11 rebounds from him. I like to see that from Brook, and it makes me second guess my thoughts about if he's decreasing in what he can bring for this Bucks team in terms of age as well. So I thought Brook did a good job, and then obviously Giannis with the triple double. And the fourth quarter he took it to Duran as well, and he was getting to the line. And I like to see that the Bucks can show these young kids that, hey, we rule this thing. We're the Bucks. We can go out and out physical you as well, and they're the better team, and that's why you see the sweep. Cue the Trey Crosby the GIF, the sweep. Brooms out, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, the broom's definitely out. 122-113 over the Bucks beat the Detroit Pistons. Kylen Racine, my guy. So stick around. We got to talk about Dan Morgan when we do our look around too, getting a job in Carolina. But Kylen Racine says it shouldn't have been so close with a 4-38 team. He's asking what the hell is wrong with this because the Bucks almost lost to the Pistons. And I said this earlier as well. I don't think that because people kept on social media calling it a dog fight. To me, it's not a dog fight if the result isn't in doubt. If you have a result that's not in doubt, it's not a dog fight. And to me, I don't know about you guys, but I never really got that anxious feeling like, ooh, I don't know if the Bucks are gonna be able to pull this out because again, time and time again, every time the Bucks, it doesn't matter who it is, Detroit, it can be the Philadelphia 76ers in the opening night, it can be the Sacramento Kings the other night we saw. Anytime the game is close, what we say, JT? How do we start the year? If the Bucks are within 2 or 3 possessions, either way, I'm sitting there. Hey, with a stogie, I whatever I got because I'm feeling good about the Bucks and their chances and what they have going on. So to me, yeah, a 1-2 point game with the Pistons. Yeah, Detroit's not winning that basketball game. So I think that I guess I liked our defensive intensity tonight all night long. And there was a stat that came out. I wish I had it in front of me, Khris. You talked about your issues with Dame and a couple of those guys, but I'll try to find this stat. But there's a stat that came out that basically talked about the I'm trying to find it, but I'll have to find it in a second. But about how the Bucks starting group especially when you have Brook Lopez and Giannis on the floor at the same time. But the Bucks starting group, their defense, I believe, it is second in the league in defensive rating. If you just took the Bucks starting group, second in the league, the issue starts to come when the bench gets in and you make those subs. A lot of times, I really think Bobby Portis is one of the biggest culprits of this. But when Bobby Portis comes in the game and they start trying to, and we talked earlier in the season, JT, about when Bobby comes in and he starts trapping it. And honestly, we've seen it for 40 games now, however long 42 games, 43 games. And I don't want to say it doesn't work, but it doesn't work. He's not able to recover in time enough. He's not creating enough steals or deflections for the times that I think he does jump out and trap and blitz and some of those ball handlers that are coming off screens. And I really think a lot of the breakdowns, when you look, the common denominator, Bobby Portis is on the floor. And so that starting group, and like I said, when you have Giannis and Dame in, it's very good defensively. And I believe the numbers also bear out that when Giannis is on the floor by himself, the defense drops drastically. When Brook is on the floor by himself, the defense drops drastically. So, again, and in most of those lineups where those guys are not on the floor, where one of the two are not on the floor, Bobby is usually in. So if I'm looking at the common denominator, I look at it and say, okay, Bobby Portis being in the game means the defense is not going to play well. And I think that's something that we may have found at this point. We're talking about how the bench has been a problem. I mean, again, if you just look at the starting group, the starters essentially, I mean, again, I got three guys in Lopez, Beasley, and Lillard, plus 20, plus 21, plus 19. Like, that's a blowout. I mean, so I mean, these are blowout numbers. If you have a halfway competent bench that isn't, minus 13 when Bobby Portis plays 25 minutes, like that's the problem. And so again, I'm okay. Bobby Portis getting him up out of here. Pat Connaughton getting up out of here. Marjan Beauchamp didn't play tonight. Another guy we didn't talk about didn't play. Campaign didn't play tonight. So Dr. Griffin is telling, or has. I mean, we only played 9 guys tonight. And one of those guys only played 9 minutes, and Crowder played 11 minutes. Dr. Griffin is showing you guys right now who's going to play, who he trusts, and who he doesn't trust. And I think the only reason Bobby Portis played 25 minutes is because you literally just don't have another backup big you can put in that's on the roster. Because the only other bigs are Thanasis and Robin Lopez. And sad to say, Bobby Portis is better than both of them. So,
well, those aren't options. Those are Thanasis and Robin Lopez. Those are vibes guys, right? But that's all they're gonna give you is vibes. And truth be told, them vibes are gonna, they'll keep them vibes up as long as they sitting down. As long as they in the sweats, we good. As long as they in the sweats. When they not in the sweats and they got the jersey on for real, we worried, right? Like that's the issue with those two. But here's my thing. I get what you're saying about Bobby Portis, and you are right. I'm going to acknowledge that you are right. Bobby can get up out of here. But here's my thing. Campaign, Marjan, hey, man, go ahead and put the styrofoam around us. Look to me like we packaging them boys up. Looks to me like we packaging them boys up. We getting ready to ship them on out, right? Because this doesn't make any sense why Campaign's not getting looks. I don't understand this. Why Campaign's getting no burn at all? Did he play the last game?
I don't believe he did.
I don't think Campaign played the last game. Yeah. So, like, this is starting to become a bit of a trend, right? We saw Marjan's minutes, by Campaign, and yeah, I mean, I'm now starting to move Campaign into the. I think we're gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks end up moving him too.
Yeah, and he can be a good piece to kind of get you something back. And we've talked about this. We talked about it last show. This is not the roster we're going to see after the deadline. So I'm not really necessarily worried about the bench drop-off because I know a change is coming. Like you said, Trey. What's Sam Cooke say? Change going to come. Yes, sir.
Hey, but hang on, Chris. I want to ask you a question, right? I want to ask Trey that, right? Because Chris, listen, Trey, if you get Chris singing on this thing, boy, we really cooking. You get Chris.
See, we need the music option like we have on 97.3. We need Jeff. We need Orlovsky.
We do. We need Orlovsky. By the way, I'm up for music this week, so let me put together a mix, a bunch of smash hits. Anyway, one thing that I think Chris pointed out, and Chris, I'm gonna let you elaborate on this, but we talk about our guard play. We talk about Dame and Beasley especially. First off, I think Beasley's 27, so we can't say age. He ain't an old man. He's 27. Them legs should still be pretty spry. Mm-hmm. But from a Dame perspective, those older legs too. You said we struggle with younger, quicker guards, and I would argue that Sasser and Ivy are probably two of the faster guards in the league, mm-hmm. right? Like, so I mean, I think when you take that together with a skill set that's not very strong to start, it's going to be exacerbated when you watch how quickly they're getting around. And like you said, we just look a step slow, right? Because now they got age. They got age on you, and they're also legitimately fast. And your skill set is questionable. So, yeah, I think it just kind of magnifies some deficiencies that we have in guarding that perimeter.
Yeah, and you saw Andre Jackson Jr. out there. He did his best on it as well, but even with him out there, they were still getting by him. I think they were screening him really hard, and that's also been a problem is the pick and roll. And Brook on the drop coverage is if he can't get up there in time, then they're gonna just pick him apart from mid range. And we saw Ivy hit a couple of them tonight where it was just pure buckets. And hopefully, whatever move Horst makes, that is certainly fixed.
Yeah, and for the record, Brook had 4 blocks tonight. I did find the tweet. It's from the Bucks Film Room, at Bucks Film Room. Was Bucks starting lineup has a defensive rating of 111.5 this season per Cleaning the Glass. That would rank second in the NBA. So, you give up a rating of 111.5, good for second in the NBA. Again, it shows you the starting group is not the problem. And I'm not actually, and I think that has been true, Chris. Even when you look at the bench, in the past about just being slow-footed. I thought Dame tonight, there were a couple of this I thought he played very well. And again, especially if you look at what happened from Detroit, I mean, just think about the improvement that the Bucks made, and this just goes to show you. And I think some of it was just they shot the ball well, but Detroit put up 135 the other night, and they come back tonight. And again, it's Detroit. I get it, but to go from 135 to hold them to 113 tonight, I thought there was an added and extra emphasis, it looked like, of keeping Detroit off that 3-point line. I think Alex Burks had 30. What did he have in that
33.
first game? 33, and you hold him to single digits. I believe it was tonight. So I know people will just blow up on the Bucks because they talk about what happens with why the game was so close as it gets to the balance. But again, the Bucks have to battle themselves. They have to go out. It's almost like the Bucks play. So I'll take Ajax out of it, but it's like the Bucks play 6, and then you got 8 guys on the other side. So you come into the game with basically 6, 7 guys, and the other team has 7, 8 guys they play, and then you got to go up against your own bench because you got Bobby who's hurting you, and you got Pat Connaughton who's hurt. So you're playing against a couple other guys on your own team because they're just hurting you so bad. And so, listen, man, the defense has got to get better. But I think when you look for positives going into the playoffs and positives as this season, continues to go on, when you look at those positives, I look at the starting group and I go, okay, they're playing defense at a high level. So Kyler Ray says, did you watch the game? Bucks are trash. Again, I asked you guys the same question. Are we all watching the same games? Because, and again, it's one of those things I think, and that's why basketball is subjective. I love talking about it with you guys. I love talking about it with fans and different people who watch the game because it's like a singer. We could, some people listen. That's not a Kansas City game. Some people like Taylor Swift, the way she sings. Some people it's real mid. But everybody can hear the same concert and go, and some people are gonna fan out and start crying. Everybody can watch the same game and come away with different conclusions. And when we say the Bucks suck, I just want to be, I'm talking to Kyle and Racine here. When you say the Bucks suck, are we talking about when the bench gets in and they start to kind of be a little trash, or are we talking about that starting group and also the group that closed it? Because again, when the Bucks started the game tonight, I thought the Bucks started off well. It gets choppy in the middle because you got subs coming in and playing, and then you end the group on a high note, and the Bucks win the game blowing away. Like again, this game. Think about it. Think about this. When with 10 minutes to go or whatever it was, I guess, or even 5, 6 minutes ago, whatever it was, the Bucks, it was a 1-point game, right? It was, you just said it, Khris. Yeah. Brooke hit that big 3. So the Bucks are basically plus 10 in the last 5 minutes of the game. So that should tell you that when the starters get in the game, they go out and they dominate and execute. I'll also say the start of the game, you remember there was the start of the game, Giannis blew a couple dunks. And it was, real out of character for him. The Bucks should have started off 7-0, but that's neither here nor there. But again, when the Bucks starting group or the group that you want to close, their optimal lineup is finishing the game, that's when they go on runs, and that's also why it's no coincidence to me that the Bucks clutch game, the Bucks have a top 5 clutch offense and a top 5 clutch defense. That's the last 5 minutes of the game with and the score being 5 points or less. The Bucks are top 5 on both ends of the floor, not just offense, not just top 5 both ends of the floor. So when you say they were trash, are we talking about a certain group of people, or are we talking about the Bucks starting unit? So I know we're talking about the Bucks as a collective, but there is a big difference between the Bucks starting group and the group that closes versus the group that has to play throughout the game. Just because you have to, you can't play guys 48 minutes a night.
I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. And I would also point out as well, speaking of that, talk about playing minutes, right? Listen, earlier this year, the Bucks blew this team out by 32 points, right? Now, guys, we have to be realistic and understand that we are in game, 43? The next game will be game 44 for the Bucks. There's a big difference, guys. Guys are tired now. Legs are tired now. It's very hard in any sport to beat a team numerous different times in a row. We got 3 straight wins against this Pistons team. What do y'all want? It was supposed to be 30 points every single time? Was it? I mean, I think the level of scrutiny, and I think the critiquing that people are doing of this Bucks team, what are you critiquing them against, right? What is your criteria? This is insane, right? This is insane where we literally are getting conclusory statements about the status of this Bucks team when they're winning, when they're still winning and figuring this out. Somebody said, "Oh, the Bucks got the third easiest schedule." What does that mean? What does that mean? You play 82 guys. Like what you mean third easiest guy? And that has an impact on the Bucks right now being what 30 and 13. They playing back to backs. You got people injured, people out left, right, and you're gonna say, "Well, it's the third easiest schedule." This is crazy. Like I just don't understand why so much of Bucks Twitter just thinks this team is absolutely awful when you look at the numbers. That argument's not supported.
And here's my thing with it: you're gonna get everybody's best shot. Like this is a Pistons team that's not good, but they're gonna get up and play the Bucks really hard. They're gonna give it their all, and they're not gonna back down. It's still professional basketball. They're still getting paid the same salaries to go out there and hoop, and especially when you got a guy like Cade Cunningham out, who, in my opinion, is just a ball hog. Their team's gonna gel a little bit better. And I think that's what you see when Marcus Sasser was out there 2 games against the Bucks. Now he's gone over 20 points, and I think that's the case with the Bucks all season long. Is you're getting everybody's best shot. As long as you keep winning, I don't really necessarily see a huge problem with it. And I encourage the people who are talking about fire Adrian Griffin. I want to hear some concrete evidence on why he should be fired, because they're winning close games. Is that their only reason against a bad team? I don't get it. I don't.
And what exactly is your? That's my thing. Everybody who's calling for Adrian Griffin to be fired, what is your solution, and how are you not just punting on the entire year? And then the next solution is, how in the hell are you going to tell me that the Bucks? Because obviously, if you fired him during the regular season, you have an interim coach. You'd have an interim coach during the season, and then you'd be looking at another. So that's the fourth coach the Bucks will be in roughly 18 months. How in the hell is that the right direction for this program to go in? Yeah. Like, I mean, seriously, how do you argue 4 coaches in an 18-month span and argue that that's not completely dysfunctional? Everybody's going to buy in, and that coach is going to solve every problem that ever existed under the sun, because that clearly is the expectation for a Bucks coach.
Yeah, and it's not even just the coach situation. Like, just jumping to the conclusion that the Bucks are not good. Like, this is a team that's second in the East right now. And, I was telling this to Trey off the air. I was like, these guys, these fans are so used to being regular season warriors, like regular season teams that perform well record wise, and they win a lot of games by a lot. But what does that matter if you're going to be a first round exit to the Heat, at the 8 seed? Like, it doesn't matter. So you want to have your best ball being played towards the end of the season. Obviously, it's not going to be right now, but hopefully, they make some moves, and then we'll see an increase in talent level and play. And I'll be the first one to admit it if it's not in March and April, if they're not playing well. But right now, it's just too early.
Yeah, and to your point, you ask, what is the criteria, that people are calling for Adrian to be fired? They don't have one. I mean, again, it can't be the record. The record is, what are they, 30 and 13 now? Is that the record?
Yep.
30 and 13 now. So it can't be the record. It can't be the offense, because if you look at the offense is, as of coming into tonight, the Bucks offense is 6th best. Oh, did you guys talking about 6th best in the league this year? No. I was talking about 6th best in history. In the history of the NBA, and this is the 6th highest scoring offense in the history of of everybody. Name all the guys: Magic, Wilt, the history of the NBA. This is the 6th best offensive scoring team. So the only thing you're upset about is that he needs to be fired because our defense is 21st. So they the 21st worst all time. Nope, not even 21st worst all time ever. Just the 21st worst this season. So you're like 2 or 3 points away from being middle of the road as a defense. And so it's like, that's what you want to fire the coach about? And again, you fired Mike Budenholzer because of postseason success, or the lack of postseason success. So you can't even say that the reason you need to fire Dr. Griffin is because his postseason success, he didn't even have a chance to do it. So again, at least let me see if he can improve upon what we fired the last coach for before I go, oh, I got fired. I didn't even That it just would be bonkers. It makes no sense.
But Trey, you gotta be real nasally. You gotta say, but the Bucks have two of the top 75 players of all time, right? Like you gotta be real nasally, like these people who are like, they got a top 75 guys, right? Like they argue that, and it's like, yeah, this is the sixth. This is statistically speaking the sixth highest scoring offense of all time. Man, like what? Now I know one of y'all listeners gonna be like, well, they should be top 5. They should be top 3.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you already know. You already know. Them goalposts is moving, baby. Them goalposts are on wheels.
Yeah, no, I agree. Micah Ben says Gilbert Arenas, who I watch his show a lot, him and Unc were saying the Bucks actually win by more points per game than last year. I don't think that's true. They just give up more, but they score a lot more. They do score a lot more. I don't think their win differential, because that's a big point of contention that the Bucks, well, the point differential, that they don't win by as much as they used to last year. But again, but to their point, the Bucks are actually on a higher win total percentage wise. They're winning a 70% clip. They're on a higher win total pace right now than they were last year, and that's when, well, it's a schedule. I mean, there's always some kind of excuse. It's so funny to me. There's always some kind of excuse as to why the Bucks aren't as good as their record says that they are. Green Ranger says the Bucks play up and down to their competition. I agree. Right, and there's Kyle Racine says the Bucks should be the highest scoring offense of all time.
Oh, yeah, there it is. There's my guy.
Yeah, we're waiting on it.
Shout out to Kyle Racine, man.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean that's kind of where we go and kind of what we're talking about. Let me get to some of the Twitter comments. At Adrian_K says the stars are still great. Jay looks good. Ajax keeps getting better, and your 2 highest paid bench players are unplayable. Need to go. At BSD Gazelle says solid game from the starting 5, but the bench was awful. Can't wait for Horst to cook. And then Drew Behringer says Khris Middleton can't wait to see number 22 in the Fiserv Raptors one day. Thoughts on
that? You know what? Shout out to Khris Middleton for becoming the 3rd highest scoring Buck of all time, behind Lou Alcindor. Mama named him Lou. I'm gonna call him Lou. Y'all know him as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who actually Giannis is first. Kareem is second, right? Didn't Giannis put him all-time leading scorer for the Bucks?
Yeah, Giannis is.
I was about to say, I know I'm not making that up. Y'all better stop playing with me. Yeah, that actually happened last month?
Yeah. No, Giannis is way ahead of Kareem at this point. So I'm looking at now. Giannis has 17,558 points. Kareem 2011. 14,211. Khris at 12,012 points. And do you know who he passed though? Do you know who he passed?
Did he pass Jesus Shuttlesworth?
No, I'll give Khris
Red?
a guess. Who did he pass?
Was it Red, the Columbus guy?
No.
Was it Michael Red?
Glenn Robinson.
He passed Big Dog. Oh, okay.
Big Dog.
He passed the Big Dog. That's right. And you're right. Giannis broke the franchise single game scoring record last month.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. I think obviously it was on display tonight. Khris was letting the game come to him. I love that when he's in that rhythm and he's allowing, the top 75 players to do top 75 things and get him the ball and allow him to work. And I think that's when Khris is at his best. We've seen it in spurts this season. We haven't really seen it consistently. Obviously, a little bit of injury problems in the first start of the season. But I do think Khris will have a retired jersey in a Bucks uniform. Just for him and Giannis to do what they did, bringing the Bucks a championship for the first time in a while, like that's gonna be enough. But just not even that, like for him to his story as well, and for him to be a Buck for this long, it certainly credits him a lot more than a guy like Drew Holiday. I know somebody.
Damn.
No.
How did Drew Holiday get the straight there?
It wasn't even a straight. But I remember you asked me that on the air a couple times ago, or a couple shows ago, or whatever it was, if Drew will eventually be in the Raptors, and I said no, you can't be. You gotta have a longer tenure.
Sitting in the Raptors, but
Oh man, Drew is catching strays tonight.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it. Go ahead, Khris. I'm sorry.
The people are disappointed in you guys for for not getting the big dog right on it. So I'm just saying the people are disappointed, and they say they're disappointing you, JT.
They disappointed me.
JT.
Yeah, you missed the trivia question. You missed the trivia
I
question.
think I had a better guess. That's why Michael Red.
Yeah, they were upset. And Micah Ben says when the Bucks beat the it wasn't
Barely here.
what a terrible guess.
Yeah,
But,
that's true. It wasn't. I mean, and technically, he didn't score all his points with the Bucks, but Jesus Shuttlesworth's ahead of everybody on that list
I would assume so.
for a career.
Micah Benz says when they won against the Celtics, there was a Bucks YouTube show that said they gave all the credit to Dame and Giannis and none to Dr. Griffin. He said Griffin is a half idiot, half stupid, and this is a brother who's. I like that, Micah. What YouTube show said that? And again, like that. That's the thing, and that's always the thing that's always funny to me is when people give like you credit when things go right. It's like, oh, we credit the players for doing it, and then something they don't like is like the fault of the coach. And it's how do you if you gonna give one person credit in one day, you got to give them the credit the next day as well. I don't think you can. In my opinion, I don't think you can. Dole out, credit and non-credit like that. To me, again, I think there are things, and I've said this before, and I think people look at me and they go, "You're a Dr. Griffin apologist," or
defender. We're being subsidized, but Dr. Griffin has bought ads. Apparently, according to my man Mr. Cool, who was in the comments. And by the way, y'all was scrapping in the comments yesterday. Y'all take a look, man. There was like 30 comments. Y'all was going back and forth.
I got time.
You got time. You were reclaiming your time.
Reclaiming my time.
Right. Yeah.
It's a problem when they're hating on the intro too. The Adrian is our doctor. Look, they're just hating.
Mr. Griffin.
And I just say again, it's not. And I think people take the defense and they go, "Well, you must think he's the greatest coach of all time." I've never said that. Yeah. But what I'm not gonna do is act as if he's the worst coach of all time.
Right.
I did the same thing with Jason Kidd. Like it wasn't. And Jason Kidd, by the way, is not doing a terrible job in Dallas. I never said Jason Kidd was this top 5 coach of all time. What I said was, well, he's not the worst person to ever pick up a clipboard. Like, that's all I'm trying to say is we're acting like this guy's an idiot. We're acting like Adrian Rivers is an idiot. And it's his first head coaching job under immense pressure, under immense stress. Let's let him get past 45 games. Like, let's let him get a team that he wanted to assemble. Right? Like, do you think he would have? He's a defensive guy. Do you think he would have assembled Malik Beasley in it? Like, that was a group that was kind of handed to him. He just kind of got like he took the job and thought he was gonna have Drew Holiday, and next thing you know, he's got Damian Lillard. Like, this is all different. So we got to let him work through this. And if he's gonna work through it at a 70% win clip, and I think you're starting to see what he's doing with these substitutions. I know people don't like his substitution patterns, but it takes more than 10 games to figure this out. I know, like, in video games, that's how we think about things. If somebody's trash tonight, I can't play them next night. That's not how the NBA works. Like, so 40 games is a good sample size to figure out what works, what you like, what you don't like. And, I'm going to give him that time. And what do we say? If this is March and we're having some of these issues, we're past the deadline and we get into
talk about it. Yeah.
We'll talk about it. And I'll be the first person to be critical of Adrian Griffin, but right now as he's learning this thing, I'm not gonna worry about it until we get to until it's time for me to worry about it. And again, I just don't see things that are super concerning. When I look at that starting group, I think it's an elite basketball team, and we got to get some guys and some pieces around that make sense.
Well, and my thing, and to piggyback on that, I'll say this: I think for me, I just want to make sure we maintain a level of intellectual honesty when we have this conversation, right? Because I think, we got to think about this. We've seen this Bucks team be great in the regular season and absolutely stink it up in the playoffs a lot of times from mistakes that were avoidable. Are you pausing me, bro?
I'm just reading the comments.
Hey, man, just go ahead and read the comments, bro. What's somebody saying, bro? Like, I don't
know. They said I'm just here to say AG needs some work, just like Khris is a producer.
Damn. Okay, so I give it straight to Drew Holiday. I guess that hits Kyle in the wrong spot. I don't know,
Oh,
or I
that?
guess
Who said that?
I guess the
Kyler
fourth,
Racine,
I
man.
guess
Y'all funny.
I guess the fourth, the Bucks all-time score wrong, and now I'm catching strays. All right, we'll
Okay.
live with it. We're still, it was
The
a work in
content
progress.
creation king.
Yeah,
Yeah, put
content.
some
Chris,
respect on his
content
name.
creator
Now
king.
listen,
If you
I
could have
don't
My
did it,
like
bad.
why
Keep going,
didn't you?
JT. My bad. My bad.
I don't like calling Chris a content creator though, because when you think content creator, what y'all think?
See,
Right. I'm just saying, right? When people are like that content creator,
oh man, what time is it?
you know, but Chris is not a content creator, but you know, he's a content creation king, right? So we don't do it like that, right? Nah, man. But yeah.
All
Oh
right,
man,
all
y'all
right, all
wilding,
right.
right? Y'all wilding.
It's
Why
getting
y'all
late. It's
tripping?
getting late. It's getting late.
Man, y'all tripping.
Hey, I need some concrete examples, like I need with AG.
Hey, you know, but who's my man? You know, Mr. Cool offered to buy you a steak if you were right or something about. I got to
I
go
don't
back to the
remember
comments.
what
And look
I
at
don't
that.
even
He
remember
said
the
something about
parameters
steak,
of the
right?
argument.
He got to know though. Hey, you need Carson's, bro. Hey, yeah, right there. You need Carson's. We ain't no chuck meat, baby. We eat. Ah, man, I need that filet. Carson's Carnivore. Put that gift card in the mail, my G.
No
Put
cops,
that gift
steak
card in the
burger.
mail. Cops. Yeah, bro. And you know what though? The thing about cops, man, cops is cool, but it be hot in there. There be a gang of people in cops. I'm a more of a Culver's guy. Put a little butter on my bun. I'm keeping this thing pushing.
Whoa!
No, because
Hey, yo! Did you say?
cops got because cops puts butter on the buns. I'm sorry, Culver's does. Culver's puts butter on the buns, and then you can eat it and you keep it keep it pushing.
Jeez.
Yeah, man, I took an L. Y'all gonna have to mute my mic.
All right.
Please mute your mic.
Said he wants to butter his buns.
No. But you know, like Culver's, man. I'm a Culver's guy. Culver's, yeah. I mean, Cops ice cream is probably a little better, but Culver's, man. I think Culver's fries are better. I think the burgers are better. There's a much better selection. You know, Cops is cool, man. I just remember that Cops over there on Bayshore. It was so damn hot. I was in there in the summer. It had to be 110 degrees in that damn restaurant. Everybody was in there sweating. It was just like, oh, this is terrible. That's my last experience at Cops, man.
Snakey973 says the defense is not improving. It's gotten worse. It's just interesting you come here and say that when the defense from the other night gave 135, you played the same Detroit team and gave 113. So I just fundamentally disagree. And again, but we also talked about this a few times. It's not that you keep saying the defense is not, or people, I'm not saying you in particular, Snakey, but people say the defense doesn't improve. But it's not going to. The personnel has to change. That's when you want to see this defense improve. The personnel's got it. You're not making Bobby Portis a plus defender with the way the defense is set up and the way the issues that this team has. Okay, and again, you can't say, well, the defense before Mike Budenholzer didn't have his basketball team. He had Drew Holiday at the point guard harass people. He had Javon Carter as his two at times harass people off the bench. Dr. Griffin does not have that at his disposal right now, right? So when we say the defense is not improving, we've talked about this already. It's not going to. This team is what it is until there are changes made. And again, I don't think you need many. I think we're talking about tweaks. I know that we're talking about DeJounte Murray. I don't even think you need a DeJounte Murray. I think you need, again, can you get an Alex Caruso? Can you get a Chris Dunn out of Utah? Can you get a Dorian Finney-Smith? Can you get a guy like that can come in and change the tenor of this basketball team just a little bit? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
What about my guy Quentin Grimes? Is he still available?
Quentin Grimes. Did you hear that New York wants to trade him to a Western Conference team? They don't even want to trade him into the East, and I understand that. They Nick's not trying to help out a team like the Bucks. So we'll see what happens.
Work in practice. What it sounds like, they already know. They're like, man, we not want no part of him.
Yeah, gonna be a big deadline. Just seeing all the rumors this around, not even with the Bucks. Obviously, you see, Obi is becoming a journeyman, and Buddy Hield, your boy Ben Matherin's playing his way into that role. So
Benedict, put some respect on his name, right? He's the only Benedict in history we've liked. Because that other brother, man, I don't know about Benedict Arnold yet. I don't know about him, bro. He is doing too much, right? But Benedict is on pace to be the best Benedict we know
of. Kathy Free says to all the Fire Griff crowd, what do they do once he's fired? Who are they hiring mid-season? Yeah, we talked about this too before. And Kathy, it's a great point. You're not hiring anybody mid-season. You're looking down that bench, and you're putting Joe Prunty in charge. That's what you're doing.
Mm,
You're not calling Terry Stotts because again, you
mm.
want defense to improve. You ain't calling Terry Stotts for no defense. So you're not hiring Terry Stotts. Kenny Atkinson's in Golden State. You're not calling Mike Budenholzer back. You have no options. Nobody. You have zero options. So your best bet is to ride this out and hope that Dr. Griffin, has his act the way you want it to by the end of the season again. And I think that's also going to coincide with John Horst doing what he wants to do. And I was going to talk about what we heard from Chris Haynes, but we'll do that during our look around. We're going to do some game balls before we get to the look around.
Yes, but before we do that, listen, can we just put some cold water on this Terry Stotts thing? Can we just put some cold water on this Terry Stotts thing? There are some Terry Stotts truthers that think that this man should still run this. Are we forgetting that Terry Stotts showed his ass a week before the season started? I mean, are we really?
And it was his fault.
Really, yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like you gonna show your whole entire ass when and you couldn't be a part of a staff, and you think they're gonna let that dude walk back in here and the players are gonna respect him? Nah, bro. Let's just stop. Just stop with the nonsense.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Justin from NC says Bucks are doing what they're supposed to do. Anytime you can win and learn at the same time is great. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I'm glad, man. And I'm so glad Justin from NC at Rated R Nuke 414. Give him a follow if you guys will. Listen, one of the most down to earth, level headed guys. I mean, and I'm glad he's on the same page and he's not freaking out. Because that's the way to think about it. Like, how many people are excited about the rest of the season? So many Bucks fans are not. Didn't you learn anything from the Packers? Didn't you learn anything from the way you talked about Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur? Didn't you learn anything from crying about the Packers and they weren't supposed to make the playoffs before Thanksgiving, right? And then all of a sudden they go and they go, you call it a run, but they beat the Dallas Cowboys, won a playoff game. Like, calm down. Sometimes you gotta wait and let this thing. People are calling Matt LaFleur before. People call him Jordan. Jordan Love's not the guy. Not they went. Packers
Joe
fans
Barry.
Went,
Don't forget about Joe Barry.
Joe Barry got to fire Joe Barry. Packers fans went from Jordan Love's not the guy to he's about to be paid top 5 money potentially as a quarterback. You better pay him top 5 quarterback money. Not from 2 years ago, 3 from this year. They were saying he's not the guy, and now you're gonna pay him top 5 money and be happy about it. Like that's how quickly things can change. So I just don't understand this. And it's like you see it happen over and over and over again, and you still don't think, why don't I hit the panic button when it's time to hit the panic button? You don't hit that thing. You don't want to be the boy who cried wolf. What happened to the boy that cried wolf, Chris?
I don't know.
You know that story?
Nah.
Come on now, yeah, sure,
No,
they don't read that one no more. They don't read it. The boy that cried wolf. What happened, JT?
My man's kept calling wolf, right? People was like, "Oh, they was responding." Then the wolf really came, and ain't nobody was there for him. Everybody was like, "Nah, bro, they about to paint." Right?
Blank.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot.
Bro. What's that like?
Man.
Is that Aesop's fable? What is that? That ain't Aesop's fable, is it? I don't know what that is, right?
But my point is, yes, you don't want to cry too early. There's no reason. Cry when sheep are getting. That's when we want to hear. When the wolf comes, that's when we talk about it. Let's do some game balls. I'll let you guys get a game balls first. What you got?
I got to give it to my man tonight, right? Earlier this year, it's funny how things change. And again, what's our solution in basketball? A lot of times, give it a little bit of time. But one time, obviously, Giannis is the easy one. I know yes, one of y'all's going to give it to him. So I'm going to give it to Khris Middleton tonight because I thought he had a very, very, very solid game. Again, 9 for 14, 2 for 5 from 3, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 26, 2 and 2. Hey, Khris, I thought he played well tonight. So I'm going to give it to him because I know one of y'all's going to get that thing to Giannis with a triple-double.
I touched on this earlier in the season where I just thought that Brook didn't necessarily give the effort in the rebounding battle a lot. Try to wait on some of his guards and forwards and Giannis to go grab some of the rebounds, and he would just box out, not necessarily give much effort. And he changed that tonight, especially, getting the double-double. And then I also thought down the stretch he was incredible, just defending Duran and defending Sasser and obviously hitting that big three to put the Bucks up late. I think Brook deserves it.
Okay, give Brook one, and I'll go the old reliable and give it to Giannis Antetokounmpo, 31, 17, and 10 tonight. We talked about his rebound at times during the season. I didn't think he was doing his part grabbing those boards, but it seems like as of late, really as of last few weeks or so, Giannis has really stepped up on the defensive end of the side, rebounding the ball. He had 14 defensive rebounds tonight, just doing a good job keeping the Pistons off of the glass. And again, tonight, not just, when I look at the rebounding, the Bucks won the rebounding battle, but I always look at the offensive rebounds. They only gave up 6 offensive rebounds. So when you prevent offensive rebounding, you prevent second chance points. So those are always good as well. So 122 to 113 win for the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Let's do a look around, and boy, there's a lot to look around at in the NBA this evening. Ooh, I'm looking at the score right now. That's crazy. So, oh man, Bucks fans, if you're Phoenix Suns fans, you would be literally calling for Frank Vogel's job. The Suns are down 20 right now in the third quarter to the Chicago Bulls. So that's an interesting score. The Suns thought maybe it turned things around. They're 24-18 right now. The Celtics are holding on to a 7-point lead against the Dallas Mavericks at the moment. The Hawks are down 3 to the Kings. The 76ers 133-123 over the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby had 33 and 7, but he was outshadowed by 70 and 18 from Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid put up 41 shots, 24 for 41. He was 21 of 23 from the line. Popovich before the game said, we're going to hammer Joel Embiid. Well, it didn't happen too much. They got hammered 133-123 with 70 points from Embiid. That's a big night for him. 126-99, Cavs beat the Magic. The Grizzlies beat the Raptors. And wow, another interesting score. I saw this one close. Wow. So Karl Towns had 62 tonight in a losing effort to the Charlotte Hornets. So think about that. Isn't that amazing? Everybody's crying. Bucks fans crying. The Timberwolves are 30-13 now, and they lost to the 10-31 Hornets. How is that? Like, again, sometimes you don't win every game. Does that mean that the Timberwolves are no longer contenders because they lost to the Hornets? Like, that's how, this is the NBA. Let me tell you something. Terry Rozier gets paid too. He had 11 points tonight. Lonzo Ball gets paid too, 18 and 13. Your boy Miles Bridges, 28 and 5. Brandon Miller, another your boy, 27 tonight. So come on now. I mean, the other guys get paid in the NBA. This is the NBA. It happens. These guys are here for a reason. So anyway, interesting scores out there. Want to give a second. There was so I want to talk about some trade rumors for 1 second before we end this thing. So and then I want to talk football for a second too, but Chris Haynes reporting that the Bucks are going to be very aggressive on the trade market in trying to acquire players. We talked about a few of them tonight. We talked about the Bucks potentially wanting DeJounte Murray. They've been acquiring about what Atlanta wants to do to get rid of him, but they've been looking potentially into Quentin Grimes, Dorian Finney-Smith, some of those guys. Do you like what you're hearing with John Horst being on the phones, and again, that the Bucks apparently are going to be quote unquote aggressive at the deadline?
I love it. Because you know what? Does John listen to this show? Probably not. John Horst don't listen to this show. Probably not yet. But it just confirms that what we're seeing is real. They know they have to work the phones. They know they have to make something happen. They know that what they have right now is not what we need, I think, to win a championship. They know that there's a depth issue. So I love the fact that they're being aggressive, because if the Bucks are going to be aggressive, that means there's some creativity there, right? But it also means that there may be a player that gets moved, a surprise player that gets moved, even though to us, we're not surprised if anybody on that bench gets moved, right? But some people may be, right? So I definitely think that I love to hear some of these names. Some of these guys that are available for trade. I'm gonna tell you all this. The NBA trade deadline is way better than the NFL trade deadline by far. It's not even close.
Yeah, because guys are getting shipped off for a 7th-round pick. You're not seeing that in the NBA, obviously. But, yeah, I love the fact that John Horst is aggressive. I think that it would really benefit this team, and I think we've seen it in the past that, when he is aggressive, it pays off. And the names, I would love to have a Khris Dunn on our squad. I would love to have maybe even go a step further and see what they're asking for Colin Sexton. Because look, we've been trying to get Colin Sexton in Milwaukee for a while now, and his offense has really come around as of late. And I think he's a big part of the reason why they're winning games. So if you're able to pluck him, or maybe even ask the Nets to cheapen their offer on Dorian Finney-Smith. That would be huge as well, because they just all these guys that we've talked about and the guys that they're inquiring about are guys that would help this defense. And I think Bucks fans have to realize that. I think they're not just inquiring about random players because no, they know that these guys can help this Bucks team, and if they do happen to get one, two guys like that, then I think you'll really see them reap the benefits of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's good that again the Bucks. Everybody, Stevie Wonder can see the issues with this team. There have been a lot. You see that the Bucks been. I just see another stat here. Look at this. In the last two games versus the Pistons, the Bucks bench has been outscored 148 to 38.
Mm,
That's
mm.
in two games. So the Bucks bench has been outscored by 110 points, and this just lets you know how good the starters are. Bucks won both of those games. I don't forget the opponent. Your bench got outscored by 110 points in two games, and you won both of them. So that lets you know how good the potential of this basketball team and how good they are. You know some of the issues. I'm glad to hear that John Horst is going to be very aggressive. I think every single year John Horst has made the correct move at the deadline, in the buyout market, and every single year he's done what he has to do to improve this basketball team. He's going to do it again. He's going to swing something again. Usually there's some deal out there because the Bucks are very tight-lipped. There's some deal out there that we made, some name that we're not even hearing right now. Like a Matisse Thybulle. Like there are some guys that we're not thinking about that people will maybe be thinking about them, but that there's not a lot of rumors to that the Bucks could be going after, and I would not be surprised with whatever they do. And I also, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they when I hear that they're aggressive, that they're going to swing pretty hard. And like I said, I think if Bobby Portis is now on this team, it would send a message to everything that's going on to the organization and to the guys. But it would just show me that these guys are it would show, I think, Giannis, show everybody this basketball team is extremely serious about trying to compete and win a championship.
Well, so can we just all agree, right? Even our listeners who are listening, can we agree that the thrill is gone from the 2021 championship team, and we got to get rid of the nostalgia, right? Because the nostalgia alone is not going to get us another Larry O'Brien. It's not going to happen. We got to let that go, guys, right? We got to let that go, because I feel like a lot of the arguments against Bobby and Pat especially are, but look at how well he played for us during our championship run. Look at how well he played for us during our championship run. And hey, this is a what have you done for me lately type thing, right? Because remember, we just fired Bud 2 years after a championship. So if we can get rid of our coach that leads us to our first championship in over 40 plus years, we certainly can get rid of some of the players that contribute to that too that are no longer producing for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you can. So did you guys see that? I'm going to ask you guys about. Obviously, last night you saw the Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen just can't. I mean, he can't get over that hump. With Patrick Mahomes.
Some would say.
Mahomes is too good. Then the kick goes wide right. So you saw. I mean, obviously that. And then I really wanted to ask you guys about the. What do you think about the rule? Because if they don't call that a fumble through the end zone, the Kansas City might have won that by 2 scores. What do you think about just kind of everything that happened last night with the Chiefs and the Bills?
Are we not going to talk about Green Bay, or is that next?
Oh, yeah, I get to Green Bay.
We're not talking about Green Bay. All right, listen. I'm gonna just save y'all some time when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are the Dallas Cowboys. They are the same team. They're going to be cooking in the regular season. Oh, yeah, woo, the Buffalo Bills are, and they're going to get to the playoffs, and it's going to fall apart. And it's not that the team's going to come out and take it to them. It's going to be self-inflicted nonsense. That's exactly what's going to happen to the Buffalo Bills. And you see it. It never fails. Side note, Patrick Mahomes might be like Michael Jordan. He really, I ain't never seen nothing like it. Like, literally. I mean, he is remarkable. Now, I think he takes that L to Lamar next week because I think Lamar got that smoke for him. And Lamar's not Josh Allen. I think, but man, you're right, Trey. I think the Buffalo Bills lose that game by at least, you're right, 2 scores. Had they not had that fumble. Who was that fumbled in the end zone?
McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
McCole Hardman. That's right. You know what? So McCole Hardman started out this year on the Jets. He was a free agent. He got some decent money from the Jets. They traded that man halfway through the year. They was like, man, get up out of here. And so the Chiefs traded back for him. And he didn't really do much this year, right? He stunk, right? But because remember, he was drafted. The reason why the Chiefs drafted him was when Tyreek was going through his issues, and they didn't know if he was going to be suspended for a minute or not. So they wanted to get another speedy receiver out of Georgia to potentially replace Tyreek. And boy, did he not do that.
Yeah, it seems like the Chiefs are playing their best ball right now, which is playoff time, crunch time, and that's what Patrick Mahomes led teams do. And you saw it with Kelsey. He elevated his game. Hasn't been all that great this year. I mean, he's obviously still one of the probably the best tight end in the league, but hasn't been a world beater. And last night he goes crazy. And then you add Rashee Rice into that mold. He's been good for them. And they just got a lot of options, especially when Pacheco is running like what do they say he runs like a angry toddler.
Yeah.
So yeah, Pacheco's been good too. I just think that in terms of the rule, you asked about the rule where you fumble into the end zone, if that should be a touchback or what I thought about that. I do think it should be a touchback. I don't necessarily think that that's a flawed rule because I saw Ryan Clark say it earlier, like it's sacred, the end zone's sacred. So I'll roll with him on that. But what are you doing giving the ball to McCole Hardman in that position?
That's a good point.
That is not the play. And then on the other hand, we'll go to the Bills. They just it's 2 years in a row now where somebody, as the kids say, right, walk in your trap, take over your trap. And it happened with the Bengals last year, and it happens again this year with Josh Allen's father, Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, they just can't figure it out. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of moves they're going to make. They had some injuries this year, but certainly put themselves in a good position to win it until McDermott gave the ball to DeMar Hamlin on that 4th and 5, which was just god-awful, fireable offense, all of the above. And it ended up paying off because McCole Hardman did fumble it in the end zone, so it didn't really hurt him as much as it should have. But yeah, that's just the situation with the Bills. They're chokers. They're always going to be chokers, it seems like, with Josh Allen and some of those guys on that squad. They just can't get over the hump. The AFC is too competitive for them.
So is it too early to say DeMar? I see. No. Is it too early for that, Trey? Is it too early to say that about DeMar?
For DeMar Hamlin?
Man, is it too early to say that? Can we just are we gonna let that slide? We gonna let him get the comeback player of the year award?
Man, I couldn't believe they gave him that football for the
what they was thinking
that might have been you talking about Chris. You said why McCole Hardman had the ball. I couldn't believe they ran a fake with DeMar Hamlin, didn't he? It was almost like they tried to solidify that comeback player of the year right there with that fourth down. Yeah,
Sean McDermott was out there playing, right? Somebody can't listen, man. That was bad. That was bad. The more I said, man, listen, he didn't touch the rock. Wasn't he only active for like a couple games this year?
Yeah, no, and I think he had a big penalty early in the season too. He had the 12 men on the field.
Yeah, I mean, just the play call is so wild. Direct snap to a safety. What are we doing? 5 yards out. What are we doing?
Man, I don't know what that was, but salute to that man for coming back, man. And he did his hard work.
Yeah, salute.
Y'all trash. Oh my God, y'all are trash. Go ahead.
Racine said, I didn't want to. He said, JT, you just agreed with me 3 weeks ago that we can't get rid of Bobby, and he's saying now you're saying that Bobby has to go. So he was questioning that.
Hey man, you know what? And he's not wrong, right? Because we talk about Bobby Portis being a heart and soul. We talk about all this other. We talk about all that. But on the same note, right? If we look at how do we get better, at some point you got to do something, right? And again, I'm guilty of having the nostalgia. Oh, Bobby, 2021. But at the end of the day, this team's not going to get it, right? And this bench is not going to get it. So Bobby's our biggest piece, and we can get some guys who may be here for a couple years and may have a bigger impact and may help this team. Then at some point we got to do it, right? I love the headband swag. I love the fact that Bobby's on a debit card. You know what? He can still stay on your debit card, right? But I mean, listen, right? But at the end of the day, I just don't know if Bobby if Bobby in the 5-star form is the best move for this squad right now. Having said that, you do have to think about the locker room. So if you got to go get Anthony Leon back, look, you can probably buy him out. He probably, look, you go get PJ. PJ can come back, right? PJ can come do the angry man thing, and I'm cool with that, right? PJ can come, show Andre Jackson Jr. the ropes if you want to, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think at this point, if Bobby plays like this and continues to play like this, and I've seen a lot more bad than good from Bobby lately, then I mean, we got to be open to it.
Green Ranger says, and I think this is a good point. Green Ranger says Bobby is a good player. He just doesn't fit this team. I think that's a good, good way to say that, because I do think there are teams that Bobby obviously fits on, but yeah, this isn't one of them where you need you need more defense because your offense is pretty is pretty good. Packers did lose 24-21. I think a lot of people went into that football game thinking that the Packers, thinking it doesn't matter what happens, we're playing with house money. But the way they
that
lost
spread
that
was 10. Game. That spread was 10. Well, there was a lot of money on the 49ers.
Yeah, but right, yes. But we do true. But and I don't think a lot of people expected Green Bay to play as well as they did. But you could obviously make the argument the Green Bay should have won that football game. They had a lot of opportunities, a lot of chances to win it. They were up in the fourth quarter. And just couldn't figure out a way to do it. And then I think that, the second half, Jordan Love, and again, Jordan Love, I thought he played okay, but in the second half, he kind of did falter a little bit. What do you attribute this game to, or the loss to? Is it what are you putting it on for Green Bay? Because I think are we blaming Anders Carlson, or is that who the blame all the blame is going to, or what's the deal here? What'd you see?
No, look, I gotta tell you, man. So look, right? I think at the end of the day, first off, it's for Kyle and Racine. Cam was right. Y'all better put some respect on Cam Newton's name when he told you these guys were game managers, Brock Purdy and everything else. Like, listen, he was 100% right. Fred Warner, man, Greenlaw, they wrecked this game. Like, they were absolute. I mean, the 49ers, that front seven, I mean, for the most part, I think the D-line didn't do it, but there were just a number of guys that the 49ers had that were just wrecking the game, right? I think I don't blame Anders Carlson for this. I do a little bit, but the problem with Green Bay is this group of wideouts. That sounds silly, right? But they think they don't have a guy. They don't have a guy. Who is the clutch guy you can go to when you need a big play in this wideout group? Right? Okay, Dobbs played okay, right? Dobbs played last week, right? But honestly, I thought it would be Christian Watson, right? Because Christian Watson got top 10.
Well, and apparently he's gonna go to he's off season is gonna go to I don't know, some type of specialist to go see why he keeps having these injuries.
Listen, Christian Watson was available. He got 3 targets in 2 games in the playoffs. That can't happen. This is your biggest moments. This is a guy with a top 10 wide receiver. He could be a top 10 talent. And you're giving this dude 3 targets in the playoffs. What do you have, 2 catches? Listen, trade that man. Get him out of here. No. Yes. No, I don't say you give up on him. Here's the thing. Trade him while he has value, because he clearly is not going to be your guy, right? Here's what I would do with the Packers. I'm going to trade Christian Watson, and then I'm going to go call Buffalo. I'm going to call Stephon Diggs. What's happening, brother? I know
you want Stephon Diggs?
Yes.
You know the drop he had last night?
Who cares? Look at what a wide receiver like Stephon Diggs would do for Jordan Love. Think about taking him to the next level. Look at these quarterbacks. Look, what did A.J. Brown do for Jalen Hurts? Perfect. What did Stephon do for Josh Allen, right? You give Jordan Love a true guy. You give Jordan Love a true guy, a true wanted receiver, a bona fide legit T. Higgins, right? You go get somebody, you go get him a flat out bona fide number 1 wide receiver, right? And then all these other guys around him look a lot better. Yeah, I'll 100% give up Watson in a heartbeat if I can get T. Higgins, if I can get A.J. Brown, who's a little disgruntled in Philly, if I can go get Stephon Diggs, yes. Bye. Goodbye, sir. Yes. Why would I? What is Watson worth at this point? I'm just saying, if you're going to target this man 3 times in the playoffs, target this man 3 times, and this isn't on Watson for lack of production. You only target him for 3. Was he a decoy? You need a 6'5" wide receiver to run a 4.3, catch everything. When they're thrown to him. You need him to be a decoy. You want him to attract double and triple teams so he can free up, pick whatever wide receiver. I mean, I just don't see the point. So yes, trade that man. If you're not gonna use him, let him go.
Yeah, I think you're in kind of crunch time territory with Aaron Jones. So I think you kind of gotta do this thing with some urgency, but also just the rest of the core. I mean, they're young and they're good, and I think they surprised themselves with just being able to stay in the game. But I would put some blame on Anders Carlson. I would also put some blame on Jordan Love. He got him there. I loved his play throughout the playoffs. But you got to give your guys a shot at the end, and to do that on what was it, first or second down, to throw across the field late.
Cross your body in the middle of the field.
Instead of throwing it out, and you hate to see it happen, and he's got to be better than that. Especially being a top 32 quarterback in the league as a starter, you got to know that's a no. You can't be doing that. So he gets a little bit of the blame, but yeah, Anders Carlson too.
Yeah, I think Anders Carlson missed that kick was
Yeah,
huge. For the record, though, JT, last 10 Bills games, Khalil Shakir 462 yards, Stephon Diggs 422 yards. Shakir had 37 targets, Diggs had 80. So Stephon Diggs fell all the way
Hang
off.
on, yeah, right, but okay, but wait a minute though, right?
Just
Like there
saying.
were some issues. There's some documented issues with him and Josh Allen. We knew about that going into this season too. Clearly, something is not working there. That relationship is over. That doesn't mean the talent's gone anywhere. That certainly doesn't mean the talent's gone anywhere. And actually, Stephon Diggs was balling earlier this year. I have no idea what the actual breakdown is, but there's clearly got to be more to the story as to what's going on. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's available. Maybe he's available. You get your Stephon Diggs, right? Go get angry AJ, my man AJ Brown. Look, what's going on with him? Go see what's up with my man, right? Like, yeah, go get one of these. Go get one of these top flight wide receivers. Bring him in there, and now all of a sudden, all of these Jaden Reed looks better. Dobbs looks better. You open up the different looks. Musgrave looks. I mean, Wicks looks better. My man Melton looks better. You can't. You got this and I'm not trying to knock these wide receivers because they're young and there's a lot there, but that's like the Philly approach, which kind of worked for a little while. Then it really became a problem when they just didn't have a guy. That's what got Doug Peterson fired. Part of it.
I don't know. Stephon Diggs had a chance to make a big time play.
You hating right now? Okay, yeah. You act like you wouldn't be hyped.
He dropped the wide. You talk about why the
Yeah.
Bills lost, and Stephon Diggs was a big part of that.
So you telling me you wouldn't be hyped if Bryce got Stephon?
Oh, but yeah.
I would say thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
we-
Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
we
You're just a
stink,
hater.
though.
You're
We
just
They
a
get
stink.
hater.
Greg
No, I'm
Olsen.
not hating.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not hating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If Bryce go, if they go get Stephon, if the Panthers go get Stephon, you gonna be like, oh, we lit. I already know that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, because we win 9 games, but that ain't he ain't to win. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, Packers didn't win. They didn't close it. I think there's still a lot to be excited about with that football team and the direction that the Green Bay Packers are going. Let's close this thing out here. Any final words after the Bucks win 122-113 over the now 4-39 Detroit Pistons? By the way, the Suns have closed that gap. It's a 4-point game against the Chicago Bulls right now with 8 minutes to go. But any final words? Bucks Pistons 122-113.
man, another win. I want to win today.
Yep, short and sweet. I think it's been the same story throughout this whole season. Is just keep winning and the rest will fall into place, and hopefully at the deadline we do make a move and that'll make us better, and give our guy give Dr. Griffin some time. I mean, this is ridiculous calling for the man's job. 43 games into the season, it's dumb. And this won't, like we always say, this won't be the team that we see after the deadline. So yeah, just keep the faith. We'll be good.
Bucks have a couple big ones this week coming up. We'll see if they can win. We'll see if they win, if they split, or whatever. They can't go 0-2. Wednesday night against the Cavs, and then another Friday night one against the Cavs. Both, I believe, are at home. So Wednesday and Friday against the Cavs. Both of those games at home. If you're looking at the standings right now, if I get back on my page here, the Bucks are 3.5 games out of first. Cleveland 6.5 games behind Boston, but they're 3 games out of the 2 spot. These games, they go a long way. If the Bucks can beat the Cavs, two games could go a long way in separating the really those top 3, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, from those next 3, which is Cleveland, New York, and Miami. And it'd be a big momentum kind of killer for Cleveland because Cleveland has won 8. They've won 8 straight. So the Cleveland Cavaliers on an 8-game win streak right now, playing some good basketball. So we'll see if the Bucks can beat them after again. The Cavs just beat the Bucks by like 40 the other night. Of course, Giannis didn't play. So you want to see the Bucks improve upon that and play well going into the next week. 122-113, Bucks beat the Pistons. I echo all those sentiments that you guys gave. I thought that, again, the defense was a little bit better tonight. I thought the intensity was good. And again, we're just really waiting. We keep saying every other game, this team is what it is. Defense is going to be the way they are. And then you're just waiting on these trades to happen. We'll see when they take place. I think the deadline is February the 8th. So we'll be right up to it on what happens. And of course, we'll have all that coverage with trade, with every game, post games right here at the Cream City Crossover. Want to thank all of our sponsors tonight. That's the Law Office of Daily M. Johnson. You can get it for all your criminal defense needs off the court. Get at my guy Daily M. Johnson, serving South Central Wisconsin. And yeah, this is the Cream City Media Group production. Appreciate all the likes, comments, follows, subscriptions, subscribe. That always helps us out, we get you better content from the guru, Trey Crosby III.
Me.
Khris King.
So 122-113 victory for the Bucks over the Pistons. We'll see you Wednesday night against after the Bucks play the Cleveland Cavaliers. Till then, don't take no wood nickels.